Trust me, that day is coming for you, Harry. You will rewind all these memories about what your wife has done, and you'll regret not doing something about it sooner. You're just in delusion right now.
That was his way of showing his power over us and our careers, and that he doesn't have a problem with just one of us off.
We thought we'd seen every betrayal Hollywood could serve, but this one hits differently. Picture it. The billionaire who opened his mansion, his heart, and his Rolodex to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry is now the man threatening to drag them into court. Tyler Perry, the godfather to their daughter, the man who once called their love story pure and beautiful, has turned off the lights, shut the door, and sent the bill. And it's not small. Sources whisper that Perry has demanded full repayment of the Montecito mansion loan, every cent, within 30 days, or he's taking legal action. You can almost hear the echo of those words bouncing off the marble halls. 30 days. That's not a favor. That's an execution date.
I don't think so, because William's a bit like me. He doesn't actually view Harry as a victim. He doesn't. He views Harry as someone who has been a complicit part in an attempt to bring down the British royal family. And so that doesn't make him a victim. Like, he might be a victim of Meghan, but he's not a victim in terms of his behavior.
The same man who once described their bond as a real, pure, and beautiful friendship is done playing benefactor. Something broke. Maybe it was unpaid interest. Maybe it was pride. Either way, Perry's message is loud enough to reach the palace walls in London. He's not their savior anymore. He's their creditor. And it's not lost on anyone that the Sussexes, the couple who preached financial independence, are suddenly being called to pay for the very home that symbolized it. This isn't gossip, it's irony weaponized. Because when the man who gave them refuge now wants his money back, the fairy tale starts to look like a rental. We've seen Tyler Perry protect people before. He hides those he cares about, shields them from the spotlight, steps in when things get ugly. That's his brand, the self-made mogul who saves others. But this is different. He's not protecting anymore, he's collecting. And people close to both sides are saying this isn't just business, it's personal. Apparently, Perry had been patient for years, tolerating delayed payments and vague reassurances, until he wasn't. The story goes that messages went unanswered, phone calls ignored, promises missed, and then, finally, a written demand, a 30-day notice, cold and final. The tone wasn't angry, it was surgical. If I don't see payment in full, I'll have to take this to court. No exclamation point, no love, just consequence. And the silence from the Sussexes since that message? Deafening. No public denial, no smiling photo op to soften the blow, just a PR blackout. Which tells us one thing, they're scrambling. Maybe liquidating assets, maybe negotiating behind closed doors. But if this loan dispute hits court, everything becomes public record. The bank transfers, the emails, the favors, the hidden debts. Discovery doesn't care about royal privacy. It cares about paper trails. And that's exactly what Meghan and Harry can't afford to have dragged into daylight.
And if I were, if I were a troublemaker, I might accuse Harry and Meghan of unconscious bias in the employment department, looking at all the new faces that are coming on to work for Harry and Meghan independently and together for their entertainment ventures. And if history repeats itself as much as Harry whines that it does, both Harry and Meghan will continue to reject any and all sound advice and will potentially treat their staff poorly, so good luck.
The irony burns because this isn't just any creditor. This is Tyler Perry, the billionaire who gave them his $18 million Beverly Hills estate rent-free when they fled the UK in 2020. The man who offered them security when the palace pulled theirs. He was the lifeline that turned exile into luxury. They filmed part of their Netflix series reminiscing about that house, laughing about how Archie played in the gardens. It was a love letter to their friendship. But as Perry's patience thinned, that footage started aging like spoiled, sparkling drink. The same home that symbolized their freedom is now the exhibit of their dependency. Now, let's not pretend this exploded overnight. Perry's interviews started shifting months ago. Subtle changes only the insiders caught. He went from gushing over the Sussexes' beautiful family to deflecting questions entirely. When asked about preparing them for California life, he snapped, "I didn't." That wasn't shade. That was distance. The warmth was gone. The Hollywood godfather energy replaced by something colder. Someone protecting his brand, not their image.
Growing speculation that Meghan Markle, in her pre-Prince Harry era, before she had ever met the duplicitous Duke, was already a Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Princess Diana obsessive.
It was the calm before this very storm. And the timing couldn't be worse. The Sussex empire is wobbling. Spotify canceled their $20 million deal last year after just one season of their podcast, with executives calling it a mutual decision, though insiders leaked a different word: failure. Netflix is still standing, but barely. Their new shows haven't hit. With Love, Meghan premiered this spring and fizzled fast, failing to break into the top charts. Even the lifestyle brand, As Ever, burned bright and then disappeared from conversation, an echo of every other new beginning they've announced. Publicly, they talk about creative control. Privately, sources say the real issue is cash flow. So when Tyler Perry came calling, there was nothing left to shuffle around. The Montecito mansion, worth around $14 million, looks serene on Instagram, but is a financial black hole in reality.
I think that, as we've spoken about, this show has completely underperformed. It did not really appear on the Spotify charts. This was, of course, the podcast that she made with Lemonada Media. It's still unclear, actually, about what money has come from this podcast. So originally, when she signed up with Spotify, there was money up front. That deal went south. She signed up with Lemonada.
The upkeep, the security, the staff, all bleeding money. And here's the twist. Insiders say Perry's loan wasn't a traditional one. No formal contract, no lawyers on paper, just trust. That's how you help family, not clients. But when trust turns to avoidance, even billionaires get cold. And once a friend decides to go legal, there's no going back to barbecues and baby showers. That's what makes this so brutal. Tyler Perry isn't just another creditor. He's godfather to their daughter Lilibet. He's the man who held that baby during her christening, who sent gifts, who once called their bond real, pure, and beautiful. Now, according to whispers from people close to him, he feels betrayed. Imagine how personal this must feel to go from godfather to plaintiff. The headlines write themselves, but behind them is a private fury that's been building for years.
Perry accuser Derek Dixon sits down in a TV interview for the first time, sharing allegations of workplace assault and harassment.
And here's where it gets darker. The same week this ultimatum went public, Perry's name hit the news for something else entirely. And not in a good way. Because while he's threatening lawsuits over money, he's being hit with lawsuits of his own. One of them from model and actor Mario Rodriguez, who just filed a $77 million claim accusing Perry of intimate assault and emotional distress. Another, already in motion, from Derek Dixon, an actor from Perry's own show The Oval, who's suing for $260 million in similar allegations. Suddenly, the man demanding accountability from others is being dragged through court filings that read like scandal scripts. In the Rodriguez case, the complaint paints a vivid picture. A young model approached at a gym in Los Angeles in 2015, introduced to Perry through a trainer, then invited into his home under the promise of a role in Boo, a Medea Halloween.
What kind of a toll would you say that this has all taken on you?
I was extremely anxious. The calls got to a point where the calls and texts were almost every day. Just this constant state of like, if I don't answer, I will lose my job.
What followed, according to the suit, were private meetings that turned into something else entirely. Rodriguez claims Perry crossed physical lines, made unwanted advances, and tried to buy silence with cash. Perry's lawyers fired back immediately, calling it a failed money grab. But when you're already in the middle of one lawsuit, another one landing on Christmas Day isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern. His legal team insists the claims are old, exaggerated, opportunistic. Having recently failed in another matter against Mr. Perry, his attorney Alex Spiro said, the very same lawyer has now made yet another demand, which will also be a failed money grab. But behind the bluster, the lawsuits keep multiplying. Dixon's case has already been transferred from California to federal court in Georgia, Perry's home turf, where judges are combing through years of text messages and alleged private exchanges. If those texts are authenticated, Perry won't just be defending his name, he'll be defending his entire empire. And that's what makes his sudden aggression toward Meghan and Harry so suspicious. Because the man who's about to spend millions defending himself in court is suddenly demanding repayment on an informal loan. The timing couldn't look worse. Some Hollywood insiders are asking if Perry's hardball move is less about money and more about optics, a public show of control at a time when his own image is under siege. It's hard not to wonder if he's cleaning house before someone else does it for him. But here's where the hypocrisy stings. This is the same Tyler Perry who just last year made a tribute post celebrating Black women, featuring Meghan Markle among icons like Oprah and Nina Simone. The same man who publicly honored her as a trailblazer, calling her strength a light in dark rooms. And now, that same light is being dimmed under a financial ultimatum. The optics are brutal. Perry preaching empowerment online while cornering his former friends in private over unpaid debts. Meanwhile, Meghan's podcast has turned from inspirational to ironic. She spent her final episode talking about the guilt surrounding having a lot of money, the kind of line that ages badly when you're reportedly behind on a multi-million-dollar repayment.
Meghan Markle's podcast has ended its 8-episode run, and there are no plans to release a second season at this point. What a surprise.
She said she wants to teach women to own financial freedom, yet the very home where she records those episodes might soon belong to someone else. We can almost hear the YouTube clips now, splicing her words over foreclosure rumors. And if you think the public sympathy is with her, think again. The internet loves a fall from grace, and this one has all the ingredients. The savior turned enemy, the royal couple humbled, the billionaire bleeding reputation. The fans who once defended them are quiet now, maybe realizing that the story of independence was always half fiction. Because when you build an empire on borrowed money and borrowed credibility, the collapse isn't a scandal, it's math. The question now isn't whether Perry will sue, it's what happens when he does. Because a court case doesn't just expose numbers, it exposes relationships.
The day after that, he called several times and I ended up getting afraid of what was going on the other side. So I picked up, and that's when he said, he was sorry for what happened. He doesn't know why he did that, and that maybe he was self-sabotaging or something. And in the same call, he said, and don't worry, we're going to do your show.
It would pull emails, bank records, favors exchanged, messages sent at 2 a.m. asking for extensions or promises to make it right next quarter. Every polite smile from interviews could end up as evidence. And for a couple who built their post-royal life on controlling their narrative, that's the one thing they can't afford: losing control of the story. People close to the Sussexes insist they're handling it privately. But that phrase means panic mode. Perry's camp isn't backing down, and the lawsuits against him are only heating up. The man demanding repayment might soon be spending his own fortune defending against accusations that could redefine how Hollywood sees him. It's a perfect storm. Reputations colliding, money vanishing, friendships collapsing. The benefactor and the beneficiaries, all on the verge of public unraveling. And the wildest part? We're still at the beginning. Perry's 30-day time frame hasn't expired yet. Lawyers are circling, deals are stalling, and behind those Montecito gates, silence is no longer strategy. It's survival. Because when your last friend turns into your loudest enemy, and your godfather becomes your executioner, there's no one left to call for help. The clock is ticking, and everyone's watching to see who blinks first. But that's not even the end, because while Perry swings lawsuits like hammers, there's a deeper question nobody's asking yet. What if his own empire isn't as untouchable as it looks? What if the man demanding repayment is fighting to stay solvent himself? That's where the story turns next. And trust us, it's darker than anyone's ready to admit. But what if Tyler Perry's crusade isn't about justice at all? That question has been floating around every Hollywood corridor this week, whispered by insiders who suddenly sound nervous. Because behind his loud, righteous posture, the reality is starting to look darker. The same man threatening to drag Meghan and Harry into court is quietly being dragged into court himself, twice. 2 separate lawsuits, 2 different men, both accusing Perry of crossing professional lines in ways that could cost him hundreds of millions of dollars, and, worse, the image he built his empire on. It's the kind of irony that could headline its own movie, the moral mogul now fighting for his own reputation in front of judges instead of cameras. First came Derek Dixon, a familiar face from Perry's show The Oval, who filed a $260 million case claiming he was manipulated, mistreated, and then silenced. Perry denied it all, calling it a profoundly disappointing lie, insisting the man needs help.
Looking for money to buy your silence?
No, I think I was looking for accountability on to what he did. I think what he did was wrong, and it needed to be something that would deter him from doing this to somebody else.
His lawyer said the lawsuit was about greed, not truth. That might have held if it stopped there, but it didn't. Because just months later, another man, model Mario Rodriguez, appeared with a $77 million lawsuit telling a disturbingly similar story. Same kind of promises, same pattern of contact, even the same lawyer representing him. Perry's team tried to laugh it off as another failed money grab, but nobody's laughing anymore. 2 cases, 2 timelines, 2 different states. That's not noise, that's rhythm. We've seen this playbook before, the powerful doubling down in public while quietly assembling legal armies behind closed doors. His attorney, Alex Spiro, is known for defending A-listers like Jay-Z and Alec Baldwin with a hammer instead of a handshake. But even he can't stop the filings piling up. And when we checked court records, both cases are still active, one in federal court in Georgia, the other in California. No dismissals, no settlements, just waiting. Which makes Perry's sudden aggression toward Meghan and Harry look a little too convenient. A billionaire trying to remind the world he's still the one with power, not the one under attack. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. These cases could collide.
And I said, stop, I don't want to be naked, I don't want this. And he was just like, no, I'm not gonna hurt you, and just continued. And in that moment, unless someone's been through something where they have their control over their bodies taken away, you don't really understand the kind of feelings that you get in that moment, it was almost like every thought came through my head to run, to
If Perry ends up testifying about his finances, his cash flow, his properties, his assets, those same disclosures could surface while he's demanding repayment from the Sussexes. Imagine that courtroom moment. The godfather turned plaintiff, forced to list his bank accounts under oath while fighting to recover a friendly loan. Hollywood accountants must be sweating through their designer shirts just thinking about it. It's almost poetic. Perry, who once stood as proof that hard work and faith could buy freedom, now tangled in the same legal traps he built a career avoiding. Industry veterans are already calling this the House of Mirrors saga, every reflection cracked by hypocrisy. Meghan and Harry, claiming independence while owing millions. Perry, preaching integrity while fending off lawsuits that question his behavior. Both built their brands on image, both now facing discovery, subpoenas, and the kind of truth you can't edit out. Behind the velvet curtains and Instagram reels, we're watching reputations being audited in real time. Nobody knows who'll fall first, the couple who can't pay or the mogul who can't stay clean. But one thing's certain, when billionaires and ex-royals start swapping threats, the spotlight gets brutal. So now, we're left with the question that keeps replaying in everyone's mind. Is Tyler Perry cleaning his books or covering his tracks? Because if these lawsuits keep spreading, the man who built an empire on forgiveness might soon need some of his own. Maybe that's why he's pushing so hard, moving so fast, before the tide turns completely. But what do you think? Is Perry the betrayed friend fighting back, or just another Hollywood giant trying to outrun his own scandal? Drop your thoughts below, because this storm isn't done yet. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and don't believe the silence. It always means someone's hiding something.